like all the thoughts, they're like mixed up in your head.
What happened after the exam?
Because they graded my speaking as a 7.
Oh, by the way, what were you busy?
I know your knowledge is great. You know your knowledge is great. I talked about black magic in my IELTS.
No single student have ever failed me.
I used to go to a Pakistani school. Be careful, guys. Please keep your IDs.
Tell this to Uzbek mothers, right?
My SAT scores, I'm not even going to talk about them, right?
Because in Uzbekistan or in other countries, as you said,
do this, don't do this. This is like cancelled. For example,
she says, I got 8.5 because I was wearing a makeup in my speaking test.
Oh, he was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm fine. I'm like,
Assalomu alaykum hammaga. Rizo School'dan bugun yana bir yangilik. Studentimiz 8 ballni qo'lga kiritdilar. Bugun esa shu 8 gacha va 8 dan keyingi hamma secretlar va sizlarga foydali narsalar bo'yicha mazmunli suhbat quramiz. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
First of all, congratulations on band 8. That was decent. You cracked it.
Thank you so much.
So, let's get started then. I'd like to ask you several questions today about how inspiring this whole process was and how valuable we can make it to the students aiming for the same band score. But before anything else, let's get to know you. Tell me about you, about your background, and especially educational background.
So, assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Onam Hanabdulrabahan, and I am 18 years old. So, if I'm going to talk about myself, first of all, I'd like to mention that I grew up in Tashkent, but when I was 12 years old, my family and I moved abroad, specifically to China. We've lived there for 5 years, and I was attending an international school, which means that I was studying in English for 5 years. And in 2023, we came back to Tashkent, and I also went to an international school here. So in total, I've been speaking English for every day for about 7 years now.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of English experience. Yeah. Amazing. What was the reason you took an IELTS?
So as everyone knows probably, here in Uzbekistan, if you're just saying that, yeah, I know how to speak English, yeah, I know English, people are not gonna see how well you speak English until they hear about your IELTS score. So that's the first reason why I took it, so that people know what my English level was. And the second reason was obviously to apply to universities.
Mm-hmm.
So my first ever IELTS was in 2023. And then my second was this year, 2025.
So tell me about your first IELTS score and the process around that first try. And we're going to later talk about the second one.
Okay. So my first ever IELTS was in October of 2023 when we just came back to Tashkent. At that time, when I was looking where to go to learn about the IELTS structure, how to crack the paper, everyone was suggesting different schools. But then my dad suggested me a result because he's heard good things about it and his friends said good things about it. So I was like, why not? And also when I just walked into the building, I was just looking around and all of the certificates were like 7.5, 8, 8.5. I was like, okay, that looks promising. And my first ever teacher at result was Mr. Dior. And I went to 2 of his courses actually, to IELTS not intensive, but just IELTS courses, right? I took 2 of them, which means that I used to go to his classes 6 days a week. So in total, I attended 3 weeks of that, which means that it's been about 18 lessons. And that's not including support teachers. So I spent most of my time at result, and I got a 7.5. And that was my first ever attempt of taking IELTS.
All right. So that was intensive learning. And for how long?
3 weeks.
3 weeks overall from just straight zero.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. And after that 3 weeks, you got 7.5. Can you tell us more about your sub scores?
Yeah, so my sub scores were actually quite impressive. I got an 8 for listening and reading. I got a 7.5 for speaking and a 6.5 for writing, which is kind of disappointing, but it's okay. It was my first time, so
Yeah, that was a decent start. Now we're gonna move on to talk about the second time, which we were working together after a long break. You had a break of 2 years. So after that pause of 2 years. Oh, by the way, what were you busy in the span of that 2 years?
I was busy with my education. I do British curriculum, A levels. So these 2 years, I've been taking my exams. I've been getting, my grades and stuff. So I was primarily occupied with that.
Okay. And then I saw you coming to one of my groups, right?
Yeah.
And then how long did you study the second time for this 8 band level?
2 weeks.
You did another 2 weeks. So it's a great thing that there is a student on Earth who prepared overall for 5 months and then got 5 weeks
Yeah.
and then got band 8. I think you broke the national record. Yeah, with that 5 weeks of preparation and getting an 8 is amazing. What happened in the second time? So tell me about the process of preparation for the exam when you came back with your 7.5, wanting an 8 or plus, and how did everything go?
So when I just came to result once again, in search of a teacher, right? I told them my requirements. I was like, my test is in 2 weeks or 16 days to be exact. Who can you suggest to me? Who can I go to just practice, to remember what I've already learned, and to just, work on it even more so that it's closer to perfection. And they suggested me Mr. Firdaus. They told me that he provides very, on-point suggestions that are broken down into each section. For example, for speaking, he provides for speaking and writing, actually, he provides similar advice. And those actually helped me so much because my writing scores, they have improved. I got a 7 in my latest IELTS, and my listening scores as well, they have improved. I got an 8.5 for my recent IELTS, right? So I liked his method of conveying the strategies and everything, because it was exactly what I needed without anything extra, And I also liked the fact that he organized practice sessions where you could practice each and every section of IELTS for the whole day. Those practice sessions were held on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And I think those helped me a lot as well to just see where I'm standing and to see exactly what I have to work on.
So you answered many questions about your daily routine. So you were coming to practice sessions, which are all day long. And then on other days, you're participating in my lessons, which are mostly theoretical lessons I have. And so that's your daily routine, basically, for the past 2 weeks till you got your result. What do you think about the average number of hours you spend daily and weekly?
So the 2 weeks that I spent for studying, right? So obviously the practice sessions were all day long, so they were more than 5 hours, more than 7 hours, I would even say. Those were very draining, but they were the sessions that helped me the most to improve, actually. And when I wasn't having practice sessions, I would go to your lessons, and then I would also go to a support teacher, also twice a week. So I would say on the days that I had your lessons, it would be about 2 hours. So it depended, actually.
Can you tell me more about which exact methods you found most constructive and effective on improving? Specifically, you were talking about listening and writing scores. So they were the fills, much needed fills for your 7.5 to kind of reach that band 8 level. And what methods did work particularly best for you?
So I will start with with listening first, because I would say that it was easier to improve than than writing. So with listening, I think the things that helped me the most was concentration and focusing on paraphrasing, For example, in listening, you don't always get exactly what the text says. Sometimes they paraphrase it and you have to catch the moment where they do paraphrase it. So I think that helped me a lot. And just being fully focused on what I was, listening to and what I was hearing, that was also important. And I think that helped me a lot with listening. When it comes to writing, all of the strategies that you suggested to use for task 1, they were on point. And I think they were the ones that helped me a lot to not spend too much time on task 1 and focus more on task 2. And when it came to task 2, Mr. Firdaus had actually developed or shared files with me for each and every type of task 2 questions. And they all had formulas. They all had useful sentence structures that could get your band scores higher. And I used those, actually memorized a couple, and I just, got the gist of it. And I used them in my test so that my task 2 went up, probably. And I got a 7 overall.
Probably.
Most likely.
Yeah, it did. I think in Uzbekistan, band 7 is the best you can get, right? I mean, if it's your first or second time, unless you're in this industry teaching, working, I think as a candidate, the best you can do with your writing is 7 or 7.5. And luckily you're there, and hard work paid off eventually. So happy about it. Next question I have is, let's talk a bit more about negatives now. What do you think is personally or theoretically, is the most distractive when students or you yourself were preparing for the test? What is the most intrusive obstacle?
Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind, right, is when I was actually doing practice sessions, there were some materials that the support teacher gave us to work on for reading, especially. And while I was doing those, I was feeling very stuck. Not even stuck. I was feeling disappointed in myself because those were very hard. Once in my practice sessions, I got a 6.5 for reading, and I was so disappointed. I was how did it go from 8 to 6.5? But then one of my support teachers has also read through the reading and had analyzed my paper and was you're probably stressing too much about it. You're worried too much about it because it's not an official exam. It's not an official past paper for IELTS. So don't stress about it too much. I know your knowledge is great. You know your knowledge is great. So just don't give up and don't concentrate on the fails. Concentrate on what you can work with, So if you're practicing, if you're also getting low scores, you don't have to stress too much about it. I'd say just work more. I don't know. So yeah, don't be disappointed. Don't give up. Just keep on grinding, and you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, you were seriously motivated.
Yeah,
which very fortunately worked.
Thankfully.
And, what do you think? There is a common question that I get from people all around. Is IELTS a language test only, or do you need to be sure? Do you need to be informed of the strategies, particular strategies? What do you think? So what I mean is, would you be able to do that band 8 if it was only about your language? Or do you think without formulas, you wouldn't have been able to get there where you are right now?
So I think it's a 50-50 type of situation, because without knowing the language, on a certain level, you wouldn't be able to progress to the strategies. So knowing the language, having a good base of the language, is a very important and a crucial step to step forward into the strategies. So obviously, you first have to focus on learning the grammar, on learning vocabulary, on learning some, idioms, especially when it comes to IELTS, the language part itself. And then when you've grasped the whole thing of this, you can move on to the strategies. And I think that's the best approach.
Thank you very much. That was very informative about, let's say, pre-exam situation, your background and the prerequisites until the exam. But let's now talk about the exam. On that particular, for some people, very lucky, for others, tragic day. What happened there? What kind of adventures have you experienced on the exam day? And was there any anticipated or unexpected problems on your exam day?
Can I tell you a funny story?
Of course,
don't know. I don't know if I can say it.
You can, of course.
Okay. So actually, my first ever IELTS exam was very scary for me because it's my first time taking the exam. I don't know what to do. I don't know how it works. I don't know who to talk to. And it was quite hard to navigate. But then when I calmed myself down, it was fine. It was a paper-based exam 2 years ago. And it was actually good. It was exactly what I expected. It was great. And my speaking went great. So it was very smooth. So my first ever exam experience was very smooth, to be honest with you. So, and then the situation happened, right? When I was about to take my IELTS exam, actually before this one, right? There was supposed to be another one. But I lost my ID.
What do you mean there was supposed to be another one?
Okay, so the one that I took was July the 30th, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was originally supposed to take it on July the 14th.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I was preparing myself.
Uh-huh.
And on the day that my exam was supposed to be, I lost my ID card. And they didn't let me. So...
You think?
Yeah, so it just all didn't work out. Yeah, so be careful, guys. Please keep your IDs somewhere, somewhere safe. Don't lose it like me, because it cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, and then afterwards, I was like, it's probably the sign. It's probably a sign for me to study not by myself, but with the help of someone to increase my chances of getting a better band score. That's when I came to result, actually. Yeah.
What an analogy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So if not for the lost ID, I wouldn't have come to results. So everything works for the best.
Lovely irony here. Yeah. So you wasted an exam before you took this one.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It worked out for the best eventually. So all's well that ends well, right? And another question is, what do you think is the best strategy to overcome anxiety? Which in a lot of my students happens all the time. Teacher, I could have done better. I think this is such a typical problem that no single student have ever failed me in terms of saying this to me. Everybody repeats that all the time. Nobody kind of performs their full potential, and they're going to fall a little behind what they could have done. And this is so serendipitous for so many people. And what do you think is the best strategy that worked out, of course, for you to overcome stress?
I think it would be wrong for me to give any advice right now just because I've been through so many exams in my life. So this exam fear has just faded away by itself.
So is that an experience then?
That is experience, actually, because I study in British curriculum, right? And in the British curriculum, you always take exams. Every 2 months, there is a bi-monthly exam. And then every 6 months, there is a mock exam. And at the end of the year, there's a final exam. So, and the final exams are for each and every subject. And I had about 8 to 10 subjects. So for each subject, there was an exam. And it was an important exam because if you failed, you would stay, you would be held back. So I've just been through too many exams in my life, and it just came with experience. I know that if I'm going to be stressed right now, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna perform to my fullest potential, and eventually I'm gonna suffer from that. So just knowing this, I would just talk to myself, be like, Rob, if you're stressed right now, you're gonna forget some of the crucial details that you have to remember and put on your exam paper, right? Self-talk. I was calming myself down and it worked.
Oh, wow. So, to round it up, that means you need to be there yourself.
Yeah,
so
you need to be cold-headed.
Oh, I see.
You just need to convince yourself that you know everything you need to know,
Mm-hmm.
and that this exam is not something that you're going to be like punished for.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not something that you're going to die after if you
Mm.
like fail it. Not even fail, but don't get your desired result, right?
Yeah.
And you can always retake.
Tell this to Uzbek mothers, right? There are a lot of Uzbek moms out there. I remember my first experience when I was like, if you don't get 7.5, don't call me mom. Kind of situations. I mean, the past is past. It's way, way in the past. But there are still some moms who kind of take it for the opposite. Like they think if the guy is fully informed of how serious this exam is, of course it is. Like we all take IELTS exam, never for fun. We do it for serious, to take a very serious step in a career ladder. But kind of parents kind of put too much spotlight on this exam and telling kids that this is a way out or way in. So that I think we over dramatize it. So in what I get from your words is people have to take it less seriously, even if it is serious, but you have to kind of calm down, take that not serious.
Not like, it's not about not taking it seriously. It's just not seeing it as something that would end your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is serious. I'm not saying it's not. But you just like, if you take it a bit too like close to your heart, it's gonna harm you eventually.
Mm.
So you just have to stay cold-headed, because if you are cold-headed, all your knowledge is there and you can use it. But if you're stressed, like all the thoughts, they're like mixed up in your head. So
I see.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's not a university exam, guys. Like you don't have to wait a year for the next try.
Exactly.
Another $200, you can take it as many times as you can afford. That is the quote I use all the time for my students. Like it's just an exam, which is possible to take multiple times. And if you look at the cases of Niners in Uzbekistan, I am not sure. I mean, unchecked, but I believe that not many of them take get that band 9 on their first, second, or third tries. I think they give multiple attempts, like 10ish maybe, and then they get to that level of confidence, which, as you are saying, is going to improve their performance. Like they're very closely associated then, confidence and performance. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was eye-opener, right? And after the exam, you got... What happened after the exam? Like, tell me about the result. Because I don't think you got 8 immediately. I mean, that was not the what examiners thought in the beginning, right? So tell us about it. What happened after the results came out?
Okay, so the result came out, and my ultimate goal for this exam was actually to get 7 and above for each component, because that was a requirement of one of the universities that I was applying to, right? So it happened. I mean, I got 7 and above for each component, but overall it was 7.5, and I was quite disappointed because I was hoping to get an 8, and I knew that I performed better than a 7.5. So after lots of talks with Mr. Firdaus, with my parents, with my grandparents, they said that if you are 100% sure that you did better than what they gave you, that if you feel that it was unfairly graded, you should act on it. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then I decided to apply for a remark. The section that I was most confident in that I was wrongly graded was speaking, because they graded my speaking as a 7. And I know for a fact it's not a 7. So I applied for a remark. I checked all the sections just in case, And after about maybe 5 to 6 days after I applied for a remark, the results were out. I was very scared actually to open them, because what if they didn't change? What if my money is gone now? Like, what am I gonna do? But then I called my mom, and I was sitting next to her and opened the results, and it was an 8. I was like, oh my God. And my speaking did in fact change. It was a 7.5 now. So the message that I wanna, convey to the people here is that if you are sure that you did better than what you've got, I guess, then you have to act on it. You just don't sit out there, be like, no, they're probably right, they're examiners. Nah.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. So just apply for their
Yeah.
remark, retake, that one skill, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And there's a fun fact. This year, last 3 students that I prepared with me, who got 8, never got 8 at once. They all got it mostly after EOR. They appealed for a remark or after one skill retake. So that actually attributes a lot of importance to that remark and to the one skill retake. In most cases, when you fall 0.5 short of prestigious score like 8, 8.5 or 9, I think it's a good idea to risk couple of bucks. Was it like $100, $150? Yeah. $150 is a lot of money, I agree, and 8 is a big deal. So I think it's worth it. In most cases, from my experience and other teachers I know, high-level band scores, 9, 8, and 8.5, come after something you do about your score, EOR or OSR. So you have to maybe think about it more carefully. And I have this very interesting question. Out there, a lot of people talk about work-life balance. Like I, for example, talk about work-life balance. And I, by the way, say it doesn't exist. And my brother, Mr. Aziz, says it doesn't exist. You have to be committed to your either social health or to your professional career. But I want to ask you about, is there study life balance? Can you be a decent student, a decent performer, and ace the test, and still have a very healthy, active, engaging social life?
Of course. That's what I had.
Tell me about it.
And I always have a very balanced study and social life. I know for a fact that if I compromised on my social life, I would probably be getting all A stars. But even if I am having an active social life, my my grades, they're never compromised as well. Like I always get A's, A stars, B's. My lowest grades have been B's for most of it. It's possible, very much possible. And it is better to do so because if you're only studying, if you're only dedicating yourself to studies, or if you're like dedicating yourself only to social life, you're either going to suffer academically or you're going to be burnt out.
Oh, yeah.
And none of it is good.
I see. Yeah. So you have to balance it. And it is.
Indeed. It is very possible.
Oh, thank you. Like there are a lot of people who don't slightly believe that. But if you find the ropes, you can do that.
The thing is, many people, I just think they don't study smart. They study hard. And that's the issue, basically.
What is studying smart?
So studying smart is using techniques that help your brain focus better and get the information that you want to be, in your brain more efficiently. For example, there are techniques as the traffic light effect. For example, you have a syllabus. For example, let's say listening, reading, writing, speaking, right? You label them by colors. For example, listening is green because you're very good at it. Reading also green. Then speaking is a yellow and writing is a red. So red is something that you have to work on a lot. So you can, for example, set reading and listening aside because you know them well. You don't pay as much attention to them and you work only on writing and speaking. And that's how you improve. That's how you study smart, not hard. There are also Pomodoro techniques and a couple of other techniques that you could use that save you time, but you actually get the information in your brain.
I see.
That saves time and that allows you to spare some time to your social life.
Oh, yeah. So people should do that.
They should do that.
So the takeaway is if you focus too much on academics, there's a very popular saying, actually. If you are focused, it's good. But if you're over-focused, you're going to burn bright and you're going to burn fast and you're going to burn out.
Exactly.
So you have to keep that golden balance, right? Yeah, and you have to figure the way out. As you said following techniques which improve efficiency. And there's another thing. It's an interesting question related to general IELTS. You know, when people get 9 or 8.5, we kind of look at them as superheroes, you know. And this question actually has been discussed before in another result school podcast, which you will never know if you never check them out. And there, people, like very smart people, discussed about, is IELTS overrated? And what do you think about that?
Overrated as in
Yeah, so you get
just
9.
people's perceptions?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I think they're right, probably, because IELTS is just another test that comes with practice, mostly. And I don't think it's that overrated because still universities look at it, and like if you have an 8 or 8.5, they're going to look at you differently. You're going to be shortlisted, called for interviews. You're going to have an advantage when it comes to other students and you're going to be like set apart. But generally in people's perceptions, well, yes, you have an IELTS 8.5, but what else do you have? See, like if that's your only achievement, I'm sorry for you. No, because how can you only brag about one thing, right? How can you make one thing your whole personality? Like, you have to be a diversified human being. You have to be a good, family member. You have to be good at your career, right? You have to be good and interesting as a person yourself. And 8.5 is just like something that shows your score, something that justifies your score. But it shouldn't be the only thing that you can talk about when it comes to yourself.
Okay. That's not a criteria to measure how good a person is, right?
For example, I have a good IELTS, but my SAT scores, I'm not even going to talk about them, right? So, like, you have to you have to be good overall, I think.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
All right. And another question. Imagine there's a student, and I think there are a lot of students like that out there, with 5.5. And then if you could give one suggestion and make sure that you kind of make it so strong, since you're not allowed to give any other suggestions, what would that single suggestion be to lead that student to 7, 8 or plus?
I have to give it a thought now. If I have to give just one suggestion. Well, one key thing that I would suggest everyone for each and every component is vocabulary. With strong, varied, accurate vocabulary, you can do great things.
It's amazing because this is exactly what I had in mind.
Really?
Yeah, if you were going to think a couple more seconds, and I was going to say that my suggestion would actually be vocabulary. So I'm so happy we are single-minded on this. So learn vocabulary. Don't start IELTS without having a good foundation of vocabulary. Reading is a vocabulary test. Listening is a vocabulary test. If you don't know the word, you don't understand the word. When you listen, when you read, you cannot write, you cannot say it. So it's all about vocabulary. Not solely, of course, not all about that. But if you want to start IELTS with experience, and if you want to measure your readiness, and that readiness is vocabulary. So you come with a great foundation of vocab. It's so easy for the teacher to work with you and for you to learn. And you do everything much, much faster. And thank you. Since it was my own idea as well, that was a very smart idea. Okay. So, now about you. What's next? Are you gonna try to get 9, or have you had enough?
I believe that I have enough. I don't know. I feel like 8 for me is a very good score that I could use in my further education. So I will be applying to universities abroad, and I feel like 8 is more than enough to get into good universities, to get scholarships. So for now, I think I'll focus on other things, on other aspects of my academics. I'll focus on my A-levels. There are some things that I have to fix there, and I might have to focus on SAT just in case it will be, required by the universities. So in terms of IELTS, at least for the upcoming 2 years, no. But maybe after 2 years, if I feel like I want to get even like an even better score, I might come back to result and, get and progress into the higher bands, hopefully.
Is it worth it getting an 8, right? And you, in your case, you're genius. You spent only 5 weeks. But other people, in my case, it took me 3 years, I think, to get my first 8. Could be more, probably 4 or 3 years. And I believe there are more people who share the same fate with me rather than with you. So a lot of us, like us, without abroad experience, without, like, as you mentioned, China, abroad, English-speaking country, or people with a much higher level of speaking English compared to Uzbekistan, we tend to spend more time. And what do you think? Is it worth it to get 8? Because in Uzbekistan or in other countries, as you said, the max requirement is to have 7 in all components. So I don't think there's any university that demands you to have an 8, right? So it's mostly for the prestige and to prove everybody else that you're good enough, as they imagine. But is it worth it? Should they do it, or just get what's needed, 7 maybe, and then focus on other subjects or anything else?
I would say, some people, they are very studious themselves. Like, some people have great potential, even without spending too much time learning English, too much time learning IELTS. And I'm not only talking about myself, I'm talking about people who have never been abroad, that have been here, and they have an 8 by the age of, like, 17 or 16, There are people like that, but they're exceptions. So if you were to compete with them, I don't think it would be a right thing. Because you know your strength, and I'd say focus on them. Get the required, band score for you, like what you need for universities to maybe get in, to get a funding, to get something, just something that is required, and focus on other things. Because universities or just people generally are going to look at you, like, overall. They're going to look at your academics, they're going to look at your IELTS score, they're going to look at, like, SAT, extracurriculars. And if you're spending, like, all of your time focusing on one thing, on IELTS, you're not going to have this big portfolio. And I think it's better to just get your required band score and focus on other aspects of your life.
Wow, that was a lot of wisdom in this podcast. I mean, it's way more than I expected. And now in the concluding part, let's make it for people, not about you and neither about me. Let's make it for people. And there are, like, millions today trying to get a high score. I think Uzbekistan, I mean, do you believe that Uzbekistan, I feel, is where IELTS is the most popular?
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
it is wildly popular, So I think people talk more about IELTS than they talk about anything else. I mean, any day I get on public transport, I see people talking about IELTS. So what are the suggestions you have to everybody learning IELTS? Like, what things they should do, should not do? So how would you describe the IELTS, and what would you say, in what boxes would you put a cross and would you put a tick?
Okay, so when it comes to suggestions, as I've stated before, don't take IELTS as the only thing that you have to focus on, generally, in life, right? In your student life. IELTS is just an assessment of your knowledge of the language. That's it. That's all it is. So if you know the language well, you're going to perform well. Because since I knew the language well, 3 weeks were enough to get a 7.5. See what I'm saying? So it's just about the language, right? It's mostly about the language. It's about strategies as well, yes. Mostly about language, though. So I would say that if you're learning it, as I've said before, focus on your weak points, know your strength, like perfect your strength, and work on your weak points. That's gonna make you consistent with your, like, sub scores, and are potentially going to bring you to the higher scores, right? That's one thing I would suggest them to do. And to don't listen to, like, IELTS gurus that You know, there are some people that say some nonsense about the IELTS exam. They're like, do this, don't do this. This is like cancelled. For example, I don't know. In speaking, many have this like misconception that if you talk about certain topics, the examiner is gonna like cut your band score. I'm like, what? I talked about black magic in my IELTS exam and I got a 7.5. I don't think I talked about religion. I got a 7.5. It's fine. Like, as long as you know how to speak, you're gonna be good. See, like, I don't understand these like weird misconceptions, right?
There's more about it, actually.
Yeah.
Let me stop you there.
Okay.
I have I have a friend who once said I got 8.5. She actually got 8.5 and I was impressed. Oh wow, how smart she is. And after one comment she gave, you can get 8.5 and still be very stupid. She says, I got 8.5 because I was wearing a makeup in my speaking test.
Oh my God.
And she meant it.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
she was serious about it.
Like-
Because I went to the hairdressers before the exam and I probably looked good. And there's more about it. You cannot wear shorts in the exam.
Oh.
You cannot lay back on your chair. You have to sit very formal on edge of the chair, or you have to not speak about religion, politics, and some more topics, as you mentioned, where you cannot. You should use your body language. You should keep an eye contact. You know, you have to use your hands. Some teachers I had used to teach me how to use my hands, so that I have to use these two fingers and talk like that.
Oh.
And I'm like, I followed that. I did. I seriously did. I was like, it's a language test, and I'm thinking about my fingers, how I should move them, you know. And I'm so concentrated not on my grammar, but on not using this finger, because I have to stick to these two, right? And these stereotypes, which are absolutely crazy, should not be followed in the first place, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. Do you think that makes me ask another question? If you self-study, you're more tend to follow those stereotypes because you listen to everybody online. Whoever you think is smart sounds smart. Do you think self-studying, I personally believe it's never an option. Self-studying is not a good idea.
I have a good case to contradict this point.
Yeah, please do so.
Okay.
What do you think about it?
I have a best friend, right? Okay. I'm not going to tell too much about like himself, but I'm going to talk about his IELTS. Okay. Sub scores. He got an 8.5 for listening, 8 for reading, and listen, 8.5 for writing, and an 8 for speaking. Okay. He self-studied both times that he took his IELTS. First time he took his IELTS, he got an 8. Second time was also an 8. And I was like, why don't you apply for a remark for reading? Like, if you felt like you did better, why not? Because he would have gotten an 8.5. He was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, you do you. Sure. I'm not going to be like you, though. So now we have the same exact band scores. And he did self-studying. And now he teaches English and IELTS. So see, you can do self-studying, but he's like a very diligent student. He's so intelligent. He's diligent. He's like, he knows how to self-study. So if you do know, and if you're like, know your capabilities, do that. But for most people, like me, no. Because I'm not disciplined at all when nobody's watching me, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I have in mind. Self-studying takes a lot of discipline. I think when you want to self-study, you have to focus more on you than what you are doing, like than English, for example, because it's a matter of, are you the right guy to do that? Can you discipline yourself? Can you be consistent? What you're learning and how you're learning is not a priority when it comes to self-studying. Are you learning? That is the first thing. And not many people can answer yes. So for that reason, as long as you're not confident in your stickiness to your ideas, to your ambitions, which I have never seen a single person who is so far. I don't have that friend. So, and I think self-studying is not an option as long as you're not consistent, right? And how did you say that? As long as they're not disciplined, right?
Yeah.
They have to be disciplined. Okay. You were talking about suggestions to IELTS takers, right?
So if you were to study for IELTS, by yourself, or like when you're done with lessons from the IELTS center, you come home, there are a couple of channels on YouTube that would be very, useful. One of them is IELTS Advantage. I think it's one of the most popular, one of the most
Influential.
channels out there for IELTS takers. And I have used a couple of their, suggestions when it comes to like reading and stuff. And it helped me like the first ever time I was taking my IELTS, And I think it works. Like some of the channels, they work to back up what you already know, to back up what you've studied, to remember it better.
Anything else? What about extracurriculars? Movies?
Oh, actually, yeah. So when I was learning English, not for IELTS, but for myself, I used to watch a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies, cartoons in English.
Like what?
So there are very popular TV shows within America that is like Teen Wolf. No. Friends are good, actually. Many people who are learning English watch Friends because it's very understandable. It's comedic. It's good. But I watched other series. I watched N with an E. I watched Teen Wolf. I watched like Riverdale and stuff like that. So like all of them had very standard American accent. And I think when you're just learning the language, it's better to stick to that first for understanding, for picking up the words. Later on, you can progress into Peaky Blinders. But that's like only for advanced people.
Okay, I didn't see that coming.
Well,
so you have levels in watching movies, right?
You do.
What comes after Peaky Blinders?
Nothing. Peaky Blinders is
Oppenheimer, maybe.
No, Peaky Blinders is above Oppenheimer.
I've never watched. I think I'm not ready yet. So I've never watched that yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that. Do you think I'm ready to try that? Yeah, I'll give it a try. Okay, so movies are important.
Very.
Very important. Especially cartoons.
Yeah. Cartoons, TV shows.
Family Guy is the best. The most racist cartoon ever that satisfies my dark humor.
Oh my God.
So that's the best. And what else can you suggest? Do you think they should watch with subtitles, without?
So yeah, at first watch with subtitles, and then when you feel ready, watch them without subtitles and get surprised at how much better you've become.
And there's this interesting question I have, since you have a broad experience. Yeah, you have been with many international students, and you have been an international student. And I want to talk about accents now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've recently done CELTA, and then and there were many teachers actually from different countries who speak the same accent. Basically, they try to speak same accent. You can see it from in their voices, but still they are trying to put in the same level of accent. And then I had another student when I did Telegram channel online mock tests. There is this guy, I don't know who he was. He was just a candidate, and then it was my first time in my entire life I didn't understand English at all. Like, he's talking everything, and I have no idea what he's saying. And then I want you to tell me, is it me or him? And he said he's speaking Birmingham accent.
But
I don't know what that is.
That is tough.
Yeah, and then that was very tough. That was impossible. That was Peaky Blinder level.
That is.
Yeah, and he is talking, and he is using any grammar he wants. He is using any vocabulary he wants, and he is literally doing
anything.
Okay. And he is manipulating the language into any form, Like as Bruce Lee said, he was like water. And is that how it should work? Like, what do you suggest about accent? Like, there are a lot of people, fans of accents, they want to go wa'a. They don't like water.
I am a fan of accents.
You are wa'a person. Oh, okay then. So tell us about wa'a.
So when it comes to British English, right? I don't know, like I naturally switched to it, right? Because I've listened to Britishes. A lot of my teachers, they were Britishes. And I know for a fact that people who are watching it right now, they're going to be like, it's not British, she's pretending, but I'm just imitating what I've heard, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
see, it's quite easy if you know how accent
It's
works.
not easy.
If you know how accent works,
Uh-huh.
you will be able to understand everything. Because you just have to know like some laws. For example, in Birmingham accent, most of the UK accents, they say like Tuesday instead of Tuesday. They say like in it instead of isn't it, you know? They say like, I don't know. They say a lot of things, okay?
But should students spend time and energy to
Yeah,
learn this?
you should, because listening is mostly from UK speaking people. Oh my god. British accent speaking people. So if you don't know how the accent works, how are you gonna be able to pick up the words?
So should you speak it though?
You don't have to speak it, but you have to know the laws of how the accent works, and you'll be fine.
Because I was told by my SALT instructors that it's best to speak international accent, which is what you and I are speaking right now. So to everybody out there, please don't take accent so seriously. I mean, first of all, one thing, it has zero influence on your band score. It doesn't make a single change on your speaking band score. Of course, listening has a lot of accents, so you need to be able to understand different accents. Yeah, best for that. So listen to a lot of different accents, of course, but no need to put in work, spend time on
To learn
learning
how to speak.
accent,
You're right.
you know. So I would be a bit sharp if I say it, but I will anyway say it's a waste of time.
It is.
Yeah, like get the important jobs done, learn idioms. I mean, for a band 9 speaking vocabulary criteria, idiom is what there is, something you should do, like learn the basics, like fundamentals, importance, and then maybe you can decorate it with any accent like Birmingham, no, you can do it later, I think.
You know a fun fact?
I do.
You wanted to say that you don't? Okay, sure. He's tired of me, guys.
Yeah,
but-
no, go ahead.
So,
Yeah, that I do sounded like don't say it, right?
yes.
Yeah, go
Your
ahead.
whole body.
I have
Okay.
no idea.
So,
Go ahead.
when I was in China, I used to go to a Pakistani school. All of
That's
my
so
teachers,
twisted.
all of my teachers were Pakistani, and they all spoke with an Indian accent. But somehow, from zero,
And
right?
you learned British.
No, I learned American. Everyone that I've met when I was studying in that school, they were like, "Are you from America?" Like, Jane, I'm not even trying to like look something. They're like, "Are you American? Why do you have an American accent?" I'm like, I don't know. It just happened.
Is it movies?
Probably. It just happened. I don't know. Like, because I was in this sphere of people speaking Indian accent every day, but somehow managed to not pick that up. And my parents were very worried. They were like, "But all your teachers, they speak like this. How are you going to learn normal English?" I'm like, don't worry about it. And then I did actually pick up American English. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's like,
That is very fun.
that is fun.
I'm still trying to process how come in China there is a Pakistani school. I mean,
That teaches
you would
British
never guess.
curriculum.
You know, you would have never guessed. Trust
No.
me. Like, nobody watching this will be able to guess that. You have my word. Like, China, nobody thinks of Pakistan right after the word China. Oh, wow. That is...
Fun fact.
And then I remembered you speak British in China going to Pakistani school. Oh, that is quite... Yeah. So I think we have reached the end of our very fun, very useful, very, very interesting conversation with you today. And I wholeheartedly thank you for coming and sharing everything you have with other students. And I hope everybody's going to find that useful.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. It was a great pleasure.
I hope to see you again, because I hope you're not tired to like forget about IELTS now. If you ever want to take it again, we can push it till 9.
Mm-hmm.
And for everybody, Result School is always there to help you guys, no matter what level you are in and no matter what kind of education you need. Because with Dilraba, for example, we focus more on refining her language, preparing her for the exam itself, not focusing too much on the generals. But if you happen to be a different person with a different story, we're ready. We have SALTA certified teachers. We have band C2 level teachers. So we hope to see everybody here, and I hope to see you on TV maybe, because you are going to be popular.
Hopefully.
It was this promising knowledge and ideas you have. So Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll subscribe to the channel. We have more videos, more interesting videos coming out. See you soon. Bye bye.